did you get into motor car racing in the first place?
Yeah, I just lie and cheat like everything else.
Did you really? What was on your resume? Anything on your resume was a lie?
Good paperboy.
And you cheated?
No. So basically, there was a production car manufacturing facility in very close to where I lived. I was working for my brother as a machine setter and in engineering and mechanical stuff. And I basically applied for a job there, building prototype sports cars for 24-hour Le Mans, Group C, IMSA, Daytona 24 hours for private customers. I started there as a fabricator, and went from a fabricator.
What's a fabricator?
A fabricator is basically you'd get a sheet of aluminium, which is aluminum in American, and then you'd fold it up and you'd create build the chassis from sheet.
You'd work it into something
almost like a piece of pottery.
Kind of, yeah. You have presses and you have tools,
English wheels and all that good stuff.
All that stuff, stretchers and all that stuff. So I learned. I was already very handy. So I did that for like 2 years, and then I went into sub-assembly where I was actually putting the whole car together. So all the engines and gearboxes on the chassis that I built, and then I had this desire where I wanted to go to Formula One, and everybody said, well, I applied at several companies, Williams and Benneton and a few others, and they said, well, you need single-seater experience. I said, well, I don't really, because the cars that I'm building are far more complicated. They do 230 miles an hour.
Right.
They just have doors and bodywork.
Right. Yeah.
And anyway, so I said, okay. So a very good friend of mine that I knew, he said, okay, I've got a Formula 3000 team that I'm working for. Come and do a year of Formula 3000, which is like Formula 2, effectively.
The level below Formula 1.
Yeah. So and all the requirements from the Formula 1 teams were like, no, you need this open wheel experience. So I did 8 months of that. I went back to Benneton and Williams. I said, well, I've done that now, and kept hounding them, and then they basically cracked under pressure again, and I was so painful they had to give me a job.
As what?
No, I started off as a test team technician on the active car at the time, which was like a fully hydraulic suspension car. It was a very big thing back in the late 80s and 90s. And that was a great experience. And the year after that, I just went racing, and I stayed racing for basically throughout the rest of my career, which was like 25 years.
Do you have friends on the other teams?
Yes.
Or you did?
Friends and enemies.
Any enemies?
Yeah, there was some people obviously have a bit of attitude and you don't like that work in the same teams. But as I went into Formula One, I came out of a big F2 Formula 3000 team, if you like, and we all sort of dispersed in different teams within the same year. Yeah. And although we were racing hard against each other, I got really good friends at Williams. It was always against Williams and Benetton at that era. Yep. We could actually laugh about it, have some fun, and we had lots of banter. But there was other people in the team that would hate us because we were the other team. But the personal relationship was wonderful, and it still is to this day. I've got friends that have retired from it now, but we were, it was like Schumacher and Damon Hill days, and that my best friends who we worked together in Formula 3000, then went in, we were then head to head, in the Schumacher and Damon Hill days.
I asked you back when we were in the pub down the street a couple of weeks ago, right? What's the budget from the Formula One team for Red Bull? And you said, I think between the four of us, it was me and TC were there, and you and Andy were there, and I think you said that 1% of the budget for Red Bull we could live very happily ever after for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I mean,
0.5%.
Yeah,
was that absolutely like a never-ending budget?
At the time I was doing it, it was around $300 million for 2 cars to do 2 hours on Sunday afternoon. So,
to repeat that, it's $300 million
for 2 hours
on a Sunday
afternoon for 2 cars.
Yeah, I don't know what they're spending at Aston now.
I'll make sure Andy's introduced.
Oh, no,
Andy McDonald's right here. Andy McDonald's right here. Now, Andy, I know you worked for Aston Martin for 25 years.
No,
14 years.
14. Long.
14. I got the number wrong.
Yeah, a few years too long to be honest.
And now you're working with this new company. And now you're working with this new company, which we can't talk about.
Well, me and my good friend here at Lucid, but I've been in the high end car game, not the racing car game, but I've been in that business all my life. So
Yeah, I think a good thing with it with Andy's, we both have and have had very same skill sets, especially with where your background is.
But you were brought here by Elon Musk.
he was,
right?
he was the guy that
You were brought here by Elon Musk.
Yes.
Right, as to bring the Formula One
mindset and speed and
to the
everything.
Tesla. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, service
center,
wise.
yeah.
What kind, I mean, my son, God bless him, bought a Tesla. And the thing that I love about that Tesla is the fart noises you play in these.
The Kenny engineer.
Right? The fart
No,
noise.
actually, I think you were heavily involved in that, actually, Andy.
Right? It's true,
Yeah,
right?
that was Andy's idea.
Is that your idea?
Yes, it's me and him recorded.
Yeah, it wasn't live.
So I don't forget my son and my nephew. My son got my nephew to sit in the car and he showed him the fart noises. My nephew was like, "This is the best
Best bit
car.
of engineering I've
This
seen
is
in
the best
years."
piece- This is that thing is like a PlayStation 12 on wheels.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is they can put it in each different seat as well.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the ergonomics of it.
Whose
is
idea was that?
phenomenal,
Whose idea was that to put a fart noise in the car?
I have no idea. I'm sure it was the top man himself. Sure it was. I mean, we both worked at Tesla too, and
So
They avoided
I'm going to
this-
go back to Formula One. I grew up with Sterling Moss,
Yeah.
right?
Sterling Moss only sponsored this guy's entry into the US.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Hunt,
Yeah, I've met James Hunt.
James Hunt, right? Who else is back in Formula One?
Jackie Stewart,
Jackie Stewart,
Nicky Lauda was a very
Nicky
good
Nicky
friend.
Lauda.
Lauda.
good
Yeah.
friends with Nicky Lauda.
Nicky Lauda had some balls, man. That guy came back.
Yeah.
That guy came back. Best driver was Art and Center, correct, right? Art and Center. Best driver.
Yeah, I mean,
If you're going to stick one geezer you're going to stick one geezer in your own race car throughout the years, who would that driver be?
well, I think it would be Ayrton Senna. But
Really?
it's very close to him, and the thing is, the cars change a lot. So I think the thing when Schumacher came in, he set such a different level of fitness that nobody had ever seen before. The guy, previously, drivers used to run for a few miles and do a bit of weights, but Schumacher set this standard where he was in the gym 5 hours a day.
So almost like a Tiger Woods, like somebody's or a Cristiano Ronaldo,
Yeah.
right? These
No offense to anybody German, but proper German.
He was a proper German.
Yeah.
He was trained and prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was an absolute machine, and it was all complete focus. So he's setting his standard.
Easier though, right? In a way.
Well, it did because I used his physio as well, so it's quite good.
Okay, cheers. Fee. Yes. Anyway,
I don't know what else to say.
Okay, let's talk about the fireball. Okay, the worst. What? He's the worst. I know.
Yeah, no, he drinks them.
He lines you up.
No, he drinks fireballs now.
He drank five. Okay, the worst incident you had at Formula One.
Well, actually, there was a very bad one televised, but it wasn't the worst one.
Yeah.
I was in a fire in Hockenheim with Jos Verstappen, which is Max's dad, actually, who's now leading the championship. And we had an issue with the fuel rig. We had a fuel leak. I was on the front jack at the time, so I controlled the whole pit stop. And I saw this fuel come out, and then
Is it visible?
yeah, it's a huge splash of fuel, and you can smell it, and it's really hot. The atmosphere was hot. So and then I went to go down, and I thought, oh, it's okay. So as I went to go back up, the fuel dropped down the bodywork, and the rear brake disc was at like 1200 degrees, glowing red hot, and it just was woofed it forward. So yeah, that was the worst televised one. But I was actually burnt a lot worse than that in the factory a few years before, where we had a fuel that was you could mix an additive with, and it was legal at the time, by the way, and everybody was doing it, and the additive would give you like 50
What was
horse.
the additive?
It was an additive, and it would give you just by putting this additive in, it would give you 50 horsepower, which is amazing, unbelievable.
Right.
So we were in the
Would you
factory.
stick cocaine in the car?
It wasn't me.
not Santa Cruz meth. That's for sure.
And
This slows people down.
so we had a fire in the factory, and I was burnt quite badly then when I was transferring fuel to small barrels to be mixed. There was a whole bunch of
Were
us
you
there.
suited up at that point, or
No,
No suit?
no suit because we just it was daily workers, and I was off work and my leg was badly burnt and I couldn't walk for 6 weeks, and that was the worst
The
one.
safety issue, the safety is a lot better than it was, right? Because
Tremendously.
back in the day,
Unbelievable.
you see some of the stuff on Netflix they have about Formula One, the safety, there really wasn't any safety.
No, I mean,
Right?
I remember, I was on the front jack for 15 years, and there was no pit lane speed limiter. Like now, they come in at, like 30 or 50 miles an hour or whatever.
What they come in back when you were at the front?
The driver would come in as fast as possible. We'd be doing 150 miles an hour at you. And then you'd hit the front jack. And I had a system where I'd just like put one leg up and you'd run back, and then eventually you'd stop,
So
and then you'd do it
stick.
up. Yeah, it was kind of like
It's
that.
like a big
It was.
pogo
It was.
It was like a big pogo, really? I can
like
imagine. So you got a car coming. At you, driven by Mike Schumacher, right? At 150 miles an hour, and he's what? No more than 50 yards from you.
Yeah, I
at
mean,
that point?
he's judging his braking to hit you, so
Right.
he's in the
On
right
point,
spot,
yeah.
on point. So that was that put a few hairs up on the back of your neck now and again, but it was good fun.
Bloody good fun.
Yeah.
What a life. And how many countries did you visit? You visited a lot of different countries.
Oh yeah, it was.
Did you even know which country you were even in? Just you show up Sunday afternoon, 2 hours, and you leave next Sunday after 2 hours.
The funniest thing was your door key when you go, "Oh, I'm in room 223," and you was like, "Oh no, that was last week." Okay, I'll go back down and find out.
What was your best experience with the Formula? Now you moved. Would you? Okay, let me put this question in. Would you go back to Formula One? Are you now out of it and now moving on to, Tesla, and which you were with, and now you're with Lucid? Would you go back to Formula One if it was if they came knocking, or is
No.
no? Like you like the comfort, the safety of having a beer on a Wednesday night.
No, that's nothing to do with that. I think the regulations have changed things. That we were very actively doing a lot more to develop the car during the weekend, which you're not allowed to do anymore. So we were being very creative with 3D printers and doing stuff and manufacturing stuff overnight, which gave us the advantage because we were doing that stuff. We were interpretations of the regulations.
The rules, yeah.
We were on the limit, and if you're not on a limit, you're not fast.
The last time you
Exactly, you don't get caught.
The people that cheated the most was the red car.
Yes,
Because cheating goes on in that sport, like any other sport.
it's interpretations of the rules.
Interpretations.
How
of
it
the-
reads
interpretations
to
of the
me.
rules.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a meeting? Go, we can interpret this a little different way.
But you can't talk about it.
You can't talk about it.
I mean, it's like every sport.
That's
I
okay.
mean,
KSCO. Who's listening? I've got 5 people listening to this.
no, I mean,
This-
what I said about
He's
that
a
is that
sport.
you
He's a
can't-
sportsman.
You can't document. It's like you can't do it. You just can't do that.
I'm-
But if you get away with it, fine. If you get caught, pay the penalty. Whatever you do.
What's the penalty?
For
Well,
being-
the whole. I mean, I saw the thing on Netflix about Mercedes Benz and the what was the up in arms about that Mercedes Benz introduced? Was it braking or steering? It was something about. Was it braking?
Well, they've had various devices over the years, but there was a steering position where you could pull it off and straighten up the wheels, which would make it go faster on straight lines.
Interesting.
There's been various different systems.
Are they the behemoth of Formula One, Mercedes Benz?
No.
Because Lewis is not. You guys, they were number one for many years. Now it seems like Verstappen's. Is Red Bull caught up to those guys?
The thing that happened is when everybody went to the turbo era, Mercedes came out with the best engine, which was actually built in the UK, by the way.
Of course.
And
that
Do we
golden,
sing? Do we sing? God save
the golden
our
triangle
gracious Queen. Do you want to sing a little version of God Save the Queen?
between Silverstone down by McLaren, and that is the best engineering, automotive engineering comes out of the UK.
Where? It doesn't really.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah.
So they came out the box with an engine which was 100 horsepower more than everybody else's, and it took a long time for everybody to catch up or try and catch up. As everybody else was trying to catch up, they were developing their engine.
You can't just
faster.
buy one down the scrapyard and copy it. That's
Right.
the thing, you know.
Right.
And it's
How could
mapping,
you
it's
develop
different
an engine
fuels.
that produces that far, much horsepower?
Multiple things. It depends on. It could be partly your fuel supplier can develop a fuel that is legal, but it helps you cool your engine, for instance.
It helps cool your engine?
Yeah, there's loads of different.
Sounds
there's
kind
loads of
of
different-
shady to me. Like
No,
you're looking at me like, oh, this.
No, there's
You're looking at me like I don't
there's-
go down this avenue.
No,
where
there's
it's shady.
there's all sorts of different things with timings and yeah.
Have you ever cheated in a Formula One race?
Do I?
Have you ever done something? Have you ever done something like that? You're like, if I get caught, I'm out.
Exactly. I mean, has he held a competitive advantage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever done something?
I didn't cheat, but I'll tell you one funny story. There was a regulation on the floor that needed that you had to have a certain slot in a certain place, and it was basically I was on the grid. I can't remember what race it was, and the FIA come through and they make sure your cars are okay. And I noticed this slot wasn't there, and
What
it's only
slot?
it's a slot. It's a slot. It's like
where?
it's like a 3 millimeter like
Right,
slot,
yeah.
about an inch long, and it's a funny regulation. So I was like, I basically drew it in with a scarpet with the marker pen and
Mark, get a Sharpie out.
So you took a 3-cent Sharpie and got rid of it.
But no, he put it in there.
No,
That's
You
the
put it in
thing,
there?
yeah.
Oh, you put it in there.
Yeah, just.
I drew it in there.
You did.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a visual inspection. Is that a cut?
And
Yeah,
how'd you
sure
do in the
it is.
race?
Probably won it.
So,
Yeah.
okay, Andy, you were with Aston Martin for 14 years. Okay, when you say Aston Martin, all you can think about is the DB6, DB5, the DB6. James Bond car.
The DB5 is the world famous, obviously the most famous James Bond car. I mean, I joined the DB7 V12 side of the business, but
Aston Martin seems to be doing pretty good.
they do all right unless you own them. They used to make a rich man very poor.
Yeah, but let's be clear with this.
To be
What
honest with
happened,
you.
what happened to the one you had?
Oh, I still have it. It's
You don't drive it though. 'Cause
no, I don't own the company. That's the thing. That's the secret.
Yeah, you don't drive it. Do you drive it?
I do. Yeah, have a bit of fun with it. Yeah,
Does it go the hill?
it does. Yeah.
Nicely, huh?
It does. It goes very well. It's the best normally aspirated 6-litre V12 engine you will ever hear.
What do you have to do with the engine? What do you just have to
Absolutely zero. I was a body guy. I did body structure,
do? Did you really?
body
for,
and
the
paint.
for the Aston Martin?
Yeah. So I do body and paint, and still this day.
Can you believe all these people buying British cars? Range Rovers everywhere, Aston Martins all over the place. People are buying.
You know what? I mean, it's that, like I said, it's that little triangle. I was going to say between Coventry. I don't know. It went as far
Oxford.
south as Oxford and then Milton Keynes.
Yeah,
And there's so much motorsport
yeah.
and automotive engineering in that part of the world. It's insane.
It's like,
and
it's
all
like
the-
Silicon Valley for motor cars.
You're right.
Totally. Yeah.
right.
You're right. You're right. Even now, all the car companies, because they can't pull all the talent over here because visas and all that good stuff.
Right.
They set up engineering outlets there just so that they can get hold of the good talent that's coming
Right.
out there.
Can we talk about Tesla with you guys or no? Can I talk about Tesla?
We can ask
So it must
questions.
brought
You can- you-
I can
can
ask
ask,
a question,
yeah.
but if you don't answer, it's
Yeah,
fine.
for sure, yeah.
So you brought Formula One knowledge to you to Tesla. What did you instill into that car, Kenny?
But
He-
it
on the
wasn't
service
car.
side.
It wasn't
Yeah.
car. Service side. So
Service. So what does that mean?
Service. So the car's engineer is out there on the road. He knows how to actually work on the car. And Kenny's main attribute, and you can take us away, is his ability to actually look after cars quicker, better, and faster than anybody else. Hence the Formula One
right.
side of the business. Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the biggest things that you'll see on the road these days is Tesla's mobile service.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And although there's many people that claim that was their idea and it was their project, it
That's crap.
wasn't. It was
That's crap.
totally mine.
Yes,
What's your idea?
It's such a bullshit.
Well, you were there.
Did I say that?
You were
You
there. You were there.
Yeah. It's your idea.
And I think
so
that,
I'm Tesla. I'm stuck inside the road in Fresno. How quick can you get to me?
well, I don't work there anymore, so I don't know.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Probably not as good as our next company. But we'll say no more about
No,
that.
you say no. But that could be shown itself.
Yes.
The new company, the new car coming out. When's the car coming out?
It's now. It's out now.
It's
But,
out
well,
now?
yeah.
We can't talk about it now. It's hush hush.
No, it's not hush hush. It's just no, we're just getting going. So it's but what we'll be all about is providing
Service.
service.
Top notch service.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what people want. I mean, service keeps car companies afloat.
Right.
You can sell a car. That's one point of sale. Keeping a customer in the brand and that's lifetime brand.
Right.
That's what it makes repetitive sales. So that's being able to provide good service, and that's the world that we work in. That's critical to a car company's success.
Yeah, I think the other thing is Andy and I get on in such a dynamic way, and we get on. We actually do, and the experience that Andy's got and mine is different, but actually the same. And you know,
It complements it.
Yeah, I mean, we work together on Andy's body, crash repair stuff as a team. He helps me with my service stuff as a team. So there's no divide. Oh, I do this and I do that. We bounce ideas off together. Our teams are cross-functional in so many ways, and it's
a massive team effort.
Yeah.
No one individual.
Is there a race to get this new car out, or is it you guys taking time and there's no rush? It can come out this year. It can come out next year.
It's coming out. That's all. All you have to go is go and look at the website.
Just on
It's
What's
all.
the web? Can we say what the website
Yeah,
is?
lucidmotors.com.
Lucidmotors.com. New car coming out. Lucidmotors.com.
It's there. I mean, the
it's the next level.
the beauty of what we do is a team effort, and we have the best people on the planet.
So people who are buying that car, they're not just buying a car. They're buying the Kenny Handkammer and the Andy McDonald, the service that goes behind it.
Yeah, and the team that support us and everybody else. Yeah,
I've never worked in especially my last place where both teams get on so well and they work together and help each other out, and we dream up new ideas together and doing some. We're working on some projects that we obviously can't talk about, but there are going to be projects that nobody else has done before in automotive, which is
big.
But yeah, but it's actually quite funny.
It's really cool.
No,
we love it.
Everything's been done in automotive. What else can be done?
I mean, there's a cool. We
I'm
might
going
mention.
to try to extract that from these guys when we come back from the break here. You are listening to. For those listeners, I think it's 3 or 4 of them. Okay. Listen to the Authentic Radio Show. You are tuned in to Authentic Radio Show on KSCO, broadcasting right here from beautiful downtown Santa Cruz. Not downtown Santa Cruz, but Pleasure Point, Santa Cruz. Got a break?
We were on camera. Is the mic off or?
I think it must be when this is.
No, because my girl hit me up the last time saying, "I told you, don't swear."
You listen to the Authentic Radio Show right here on Santa Cruz Waves. This bastard right here, Kenny. Kenny Handkammer.
Let's talk about something else, shall we?
Okay, talk about something else.
Yeah, we can go off the lucid topic.
What talk about?
Yeah, let's get off the lucid topic and talk about. Well, I think Andy's done an awful lot in rugby and drinking.
Drinking. Let's
talk about rugby.
British. Yeah, we can talk about rugby.
Let's talk about British.
Britishness.
Yeah.
The current state of.
Let's talk about cars.
We don't have to go politics.
I'm done with that.
We don't have to go politics, but
Hey, Cliff Richard.
Yeah.
He missed it.
You know, he owed one of the. I'm pretty sure he owned one of the biggest fucking sport. Oh, it was. What was his? No, that wasn't his proper name, was it? Cliff Richard. What was his proper name?
It was something weird, really old-fashioned name.
It
Arthur
was
something. Or...
But there was a big high-end sports dealer car dealership, and I'm sure it was his initials, his real name initials.
Yeah. It's something like Arthur Crawford or something stupid.
It was something stupid. Yeah, you're right. I can't remember now.
We can do the Oliver Reed thing later.
But that's fun.
What?
We can do the Oliver Reed thing later.
You can do the Oliver Reed thing?
Yeah, that's worth doing.
Huh? Let's do the Oliver Reed thing.
Which is left for it. Okay, my bad.
But we lead it into Andy and rugby and drinking and stuff.
Rugby, I play fullback.
So, but then...
we can talk about... I mean, I don't care. We can talk about living in the...
We could be Brits in UK.
About
Brits
the New
in
Point. Do you watch that New Point local?
New Point.
Giving people shit. I mean, I'm in New Point. I'm a 9-year-old cook. You can give me shit for that. I don't care.
All right, we're back with the Off the Renault Show, broadcasting from KSCO here in Santa Cruz, California. You can watch the show right now on Facebook Live with Santa Cruz Waves. If you want to see the video, it'll be podcasted all over the place: iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, all over the place. Tonight, my guests are Kenny Handkammer, who used to be the Formula One. He used to be chief engineer of Formula One production, and for Red Bull race car, we have Andy McDonald here. He was formerly with Aston Martin. We're not going to talk. We're done talking about cars. We're going to talk about how Kenny got drunk with Oliver Reed. With Oliver Reed. Now, come on, tell me about Oliver Reed. How is he? He's a world famous, legendary producer, actor, and you happen to have a couple of whiskeys with him. How was it with
You were talking about fuel consumption.
How was the fuel consumption with Oliver?
So we were talking about how much fuel my Jeep uses, and I said this thing drinks faster than Oliver Reed. Obviously, he has quite a high reputation for his his
alcoholism,
his input.
Yeah.
So and I said, yeah, and I decided, by the way, I had a few drinks with him a long time ago. So part of my background is that I came from actually racing was. Before I started karting as a novice driver, we used to do this crazy race, which was the 12-hour lawnmower race, and you'd have a ride on tractor, and you can laugh your head off about this as much as you want, but also I helped build and prepare these vehicles for Derek Bell, who's a 6-time Le Mans winner, and Sterling Moss. Drove these.
You built Stelling Morses.
You built Moss's lawnmower?
No, his racing lawnmower, which we did. We did this 12-hour.
That's legendary.
We did this. It's legendary.
We did this crazy 12.
That's how you got the reference.
12-hour lawnmower race, and that
So
no, this is crazy.
What lawnmower you sit on? Or is it
there was crazy people, like they push them. And they had like a tag team. There was people that had ride-ons, that had drag behinds.
Yeah.
They had all sorts of crazy stuff.
It's a free-for-all.
It's a free-for-all, but there were some rules and regulations, so you couldn't cheat. So this is what put me into like.
Of course, money.
Of course, we were only thrown out a couple of times. So so Oliver Reed had a team, and he used to go to this 12-hour lawnmower race. He had his own like double-decker bus with a bar in it.
Who did? Oliver Reed?
Oliver Reed, yeah.
Double-decker bus with a bar in it?
Yeah, and he used to turn up. He used to turn up and
hammered.
Yeah.
No DUI.
Was he frappe?
No, I mean he had people that looked up, and he just turned up just to get drunk, obviously. And at the time, I was there racing, and we hung out together a few times. Him and I hung out with his son too, who was equally quite close to the mark. And he was good fun. He's very normal, very cool. So yes, my claim to fame that I've had a few beers with Oliver Reed on multiple occasions.
Well,
I mean, that's like lad stripes. I'm sorry for you Americans that don't understand.
That's big. If you're English, that's big.
That's huge.
Rosie in the morning show would love that. She's like,
Ollie Reed was a legendary party animal. Like, off the charts.
He was an okay actor as well.
Let's talk about our rugby. He was an okay actor, yeah. Let's talk about our rugby careers between each other. No.
Not with my knee.
Not with your knee.
I'll leave that over to Andy.
No, I mean
There's no sport like rugby where you can beat the crap out of each other for an hour and a half on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon and go down to the pub and have a few beers with the geezer that you just beat the crap out of, or he just beat the crap out of you. There's no better sport.
Gentlemanly hooliganism. I don't understand why the US hasn't picked up on this.
Right?
It doesn't have adverts every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it is as physical as you get. It's not as physical, I would suggest, as ice hockey, which I'm amazed I didn't watch that properly because I would probably made a good career.
Because the damn thing's going too fast, you can't see it on TV.
I know, but I just thought...
And you can't see it when you're there either.
But to this day and age, I don't understand how ice hockey, even to this day, right? So the big thing is, if I ran up and smacked somebody in the head, I'd get banned for a month. Probably longer now. And ice hockey, you get 10 seconds in the sin bin.
Right,
and
my brother...
Not even that.
My brother got 6 months banned from the sport for headbutting the referee. The referees
Referees are...
Give me a glass of stitch.
Nothing.
Yeah, get right stitch.
Yeah, give him the Glasgow stitch. Got 6 months.
Yeah, I never touched referees.
You didn't?
No, I was.
Oh, you lying bastard.
No, not. I mean, they get in the way of a tackle every now and again.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, yeah, no. But I mean, I truly believe that the US is going to wake up, and once money gets behind it, it's a far better spectator sport.
Rugby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my humble
You
opinion.
think it's going to be bigger than the NFL?
Not for a long time, but it will
What
get.
do you think about all the pads and the helmets and all that other... I mean,
Well, the big thing, I mean, all that pads and helmets doesn't stop anybody from getting concussed, right? And concussion is one of the biggest problems in NFL right now.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not about how hard somebody smacked you or tried to knock you out, because your brain lives in this big fluid sack,
But,
and that causes you problems.
but it's funny,
and surfers are suffering from that.
Exactly. And there's a big... There's a lot... It's been going... It's
they're
been
going-
the headline now for 2 or 3 years. About
Yeah, it's like, why am I all of a sudden like having problems remembering shit?
You got Sean Dollar, who was a world
Yeah,
record holder.
exactly,
His
yeah.
brain's like Swiss cheese. for crying
Exactly,
out loud.
because they've been
But we
taking
talk about-
massive impacts.
Yeah,
So-
But right now we're talking about sports,
yeah.
right? Rugby.
And that's-
remember-
and they're sportsmen
You're talking
too.
about. When we talk about Formula One, you know, you're lucky if you get a concussion. Once you crash one of those, it's
You
Yeah,
could
I
be
mean-
alive.
no, you're lucky to be
I mean,
alive.
the last Grosjean accident, end of last year, he pulled 55G.
Oh, I mean, gee.
I mean, and
Pull 55 G's how? Go through the air?
no, he
No,
went
in
he
the-
cut through the barrier.
That's
while he
the
went
that's
off.
the force,
The
lateral
G-force.
force. Yeah, it's insane. I was watching some. It was
Insane.
there's a guy, one of the top one of the top Trans Am guys, not Trans Am, shit,
NASCAR.
NASCAR guys, Jailhart Jr. And
Right.
he was with one of his buddies who had suffered amazing crashes. And the pair of them, it's really hard because they've suffered so much brain damage. So yeah, I mean, head impact for across all sports is a huge thing.
But it seems like Formula One. It seems like it's safer than it was back years ago.
Oh, massively.
Right? When there was no safety, right? It was Jackie Stewart days.
Yeah, and
You're
even
on
now,
your own. And they had hay bales out
They
there.
could jump out the car and
They
have a
had hay
cocktail.
bales out there.
I-
I remember going to Le Mans when I was a kid. I remember going to Le Mans, catching the ferry, crossing Brighton, New
Yep.
Haven ferry, driving across. There was 5 of us in the Mini, end up at Le Mans. It was a great time. It was a great
And they pushed the
event.
cars out of it, didn't they?
Pushing the, I mean,
or running or whatever it was. I can't
right, but there was no safety. There was trees. They put white paint on. Here's a tree.
Yeah,
by the way, there's a tree here.
don't hit this.
yeah, no,
Don't
I totally agree.
Exactly right. Don't
Yeah.
hit this.
This will kill you.
So the safety's a lot better than it was.
Oh, massively. I mean, it's huge. It's changed the sport, and it's for a good thing. You know, when in the 90s, a designer you do a driver fit for the new car for
Yeah.
the following year, and basically they'd almost get a feeler gauge between the chassis and your hands to get it close. Now there's such a big area that it's still not that big.
Yeah.
But it's a much stronger area that you have a template that goes through. There was none of this stuff before the
Right.
regulations.
It's like the whole world of carbon fibre, right? So I grew up as a composites engineer, and everything's all about carbon fibre, lightweight, and all the rest of it. When carbon fibre, it's great in unidirectional or whatever, not in this sudden impact smash that you're not prepared for.
Right.
And you have bits of carbon entering your body.
Right.
They're in there permanently.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different world.
You can just get a carbon splinter and it can go into your
Yeah.
into your blood cell.
It's
And then what happened?
Well, it can cause you a heart attack for sure. So.
It's in there. It's hard to deal with, and that's what the Formula One guys were like. They were, yeah,
But the drivers know them. They know the consequences.
they do now because there's better
Right.
science behind everything. That's
I don't know if they actually they don't really know the consequences. I think there was a
Stupidity.
driver, Mikkel Sala, who had a lung problem, and for a different reason. But he went into hospital and they cut him open and they just found all this black stuff inside it, and it was from basically when he was following Formula One cars and
Carbon
the
fibre
brake dust
dust.
coming off, and
Right.
he was going into it.
inhaling it.
I wonder how
Wow.
much is that around. I don't know, but
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah,
What's the most grueling race? Monaco. And can we talk about Monaco because it just seems like that the Monaco race, Formula One race, seems like it's just a different animal altogether.
back in the days, physically, it was much different before they had with the new. I call it the new pits because I never spent that much time there. The new box area, when you had to transport everything up and down all the time, it was crazy. It was
Up and down where?
well, we had an area where we prepared the cars, and then we'd take it to the area that we ran the cars out, which is a tiny area, and then we had to take everything back down again, change engines, gearboxes, and everything, and then take it back up to run again. Logistically, with your parts, with your equipment and everything, it was an absolute nightmare. So it was quite a
Challenge to everybody. Yeah.
challenge. Now it's actually relatively pretty easy. Monaco's always fun. You always push everything to the limit.
The race is boring as hell, though.
The race is boring, you think?
Yeah,
Because you can't overtake. You can't pass somebody.
No, I mean there's been a few good ones, and
I mean, you know better than me.
I need to take out of it that I'm lucky enough to have won six of them. So
Okay.
Oh,
yes.
stop. You won 6 Monaco Grand Prix?
well, I didn't personally, but
No,
the
you went
teams.
driving the
But
car,
I
you got hand in hand with the geezer driving the car.
no.
Without you,
To be honest,
without you, he's not. Without you, he's not winning, right?
well, we have to cross the line, so it has to be reliable. But the secret with Monaco is the driver needs to be out on the track for maximum amount of times, doing laps and laps to get more confident, and that's what makes him. You know, he needs to be touching every single barrier to be faster than everybody else, without not going in too deep to destroy
Touching
anything.
the barrier.
Yeah, just you have to touch it. You have to
It's like driving Highway 17 like you've stole it. And bounce it off.
So
Oh,
it's
So like you like driving Highway 17, but you are using the wall.
yes,
You're using the
but
walls.
not too much.
not to crash into, but just
No,
to
but
bounce
you're
it.
bouncing off.
You touch it, bounce it off, and it might bounce you to another part of the circuit that you bounce off to. And it's all about driver time and being reliable. And I think if you can, you know, obviously you have to have a pretty good car with, you know, a lot of downforce and very efficient.
I mean, half the drivers live there anyway, so.
Yes,
But bouncing off the walls. That's
just touch the barrier.
just touch it.
Don't.
Nick it.
So when the car comes in, you normally see that whatever
Scuff
tyre
marks.
you had, that like it would take the manufacturer's name off the side of the tyres. So if it was Bridgestone, Pirelli, Goodyear,
That's-
it was kind of smeared off. Yeah,
Is that your favourite race?
no,
What's your favourite race?
unsure.
That's a
No.
good question.
I think if you go to any city that's a great race, Melbourne, Montreal, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, night races. The calendar's changed so much now. There's obviously there's races.
Brazil. What about Brazil? Sao Paulo or?
Sao Paulo's good fun too. I mean, I think that if you go to any major city that there's a Grand Prix, it just lights up the whole city and it makes it really fun. And the other thing is the revenue that it brings in is like $1 billion per event. So the city makes a lot of money out of Formula One too.
Right.
So the investment for what you put into the track comes back quickly.
The future of Formula One. I mean, Formula One's not big in this country, right?
Sadly.
I know,
right?
it's-
It's more about NASCAR where you go around in circles.
Yeah, you're right.
But it is getting bigger. I think it slowly is getting bigger. There's
I
a
think
Miami race next year, right?
I think the Formula E business is going to grow rapidly. And
Formula E mean the battery.
Electric.
no, the electric,
Right.
electric Formula and Lucid, yeah.
Is that taking it away? I mean, I don't want to go to a Formula One race and don't hear the sounds of the race car.
Well, you could say the same now. If you've gone back into the 90s where you had Nigel Mansell with the V12 Ferrari,
Yeah, I mean-
and you had the Renault V10s, normally aspirated, it's totally different sound to what they are now.
Right.
And that was a huge
You're just
complaint.
hearing this tinny, whiny 2-litre whatever it is versus the 6-litre V12.
Have you driven a Formula One car?
No.
Yes, you have. Don't lie to me.
No, I
You've driven
haven't.
one.
Because
You've driven one.
it takes...
You've driven one.
To run a Formula
How
One
could you
car,
not- how
it
could
costs
you
a fortune.
As a chief engineer, have you not?
It
take over a
takes
spin?
it takes 12 people, a minimum of 12 people, to actually just get a car up and running, and fire it up and go out on track, and then the
so
cost
Andy
is
and I want
huge.
to take a quick spin. We get permission to go on a quick spin.
That's stall at 5 yards
Right.
down the street.
So it takes 12 people to get the thing going.
Minimum.
Minimum.
And then the equipment and everything else.
Really?
Yeah, tire warmers, water heaters, oil coolers, fans for your brakes.
It's not your standard
If
test
you were
drive.
able to drive one car, going back to Jackie Stewart, go back to Sterling Moss. If you were able to take 5-lap spin in a car, what would it be? Something that Jackie drove.
I'd go for
Something that Sterling drove, a Lotus.
Probably go for Villeneuve. Villeneuve's one of Villeneuve's cars, the Ferraris, 512 or something like that.
What was the Villeneuve car?
It was a Ferrari
V12?
yeah. But then, sadly, it's a very, it was a fabricated aluminum chassis, aluminum
Dangerous as
chassis.
hell.
Yeah.
Dangerous hell. You go off in that and it's all over. It's like
So
a
it was a V12 car.
20 gauge chassis. It's
Right.
so
It was a
weak.
V12 engine in a carbon fiber car.
No, an
aluminium car.
basic
It was
fabricated
pretty
chassis.
much a rocket.
Yeah, it's like a paper bag on wheels. To be honest.
That's how you got to think about it. It's the scary thing. All these things whatever engineer do is just go fast as hell. And
Yeah, back in the old days, things were very different. The regulations were just make it as light and as fast as you can.
one of the cars I'd love to have driven, having owned a few Audis, is one of the Le Mans Audis. One of the R10, the diesel ones.
The diesel one,
Yeah.
I remember I went to Le Mans one time with my buddies back when I was a kid. We bought our tickets from the AA or RAC, right, from the motor club. We got pit stop passes, right, and I never forget this. Everyone's walking in the cars, and there was these white tents.
Where they actually make.
What the hell's in the white tents?
I'm going to rephrase that answer. I mean, the R10 modern one. I'd love to have done the Aston, the Zagato Aston. I'd love to have done a 250 GTO and the Ford
Yeah.
GT.
But what was in those tents was 3 Porsches.
Oh,
They were sitting there ready. I don't know what they were, but they were sitting there. No one's working on them. They were ready to go.
yeah.
Everyone else-
A 956.
That's probably called spare parts for the car that was on the track.
Le Mans is still a great race, right?
Yeah, I loved it. Like I said, I worked as a technician in '87.
For what company?
I was working for John McNeil Racing, but it was a Tiger race car that I'd built,
Right.
and I was supporting it.
Not a
and
sign John McNeil that we know.
no,
Okay,
it's different.
that's good.
It's very,
Still my friend there.
Let me ask you this question. The TC has a race car. TC, as you know, my co-host, my dear friend, has a '72 Chevy Camaro.
We'll have to come out then.
Yeah, he's in what he races that thing. He's not here tonight. He's at home.
Yeah, we're missing him tonight.
Missing him tonight.
Yeah.
But he's missing him tonight. But he is after you did the last show. He wants to know if you can make his car go faster.
We'll
And
get-
if you would come out
We'll-
to
we'll-
Watsonville Speedway,
We'll do that.
we'll
Let's
buy
do
you a
it.
hot dog and a beer. Maybe
I'm
several
in.
beers.
I'm in.
We're in. We're sold.
And I
if you
think
if you can make his car go faster, that would be a lot of fun.
I think between Andy and I, we can have a
We
we can
can
have
have
a
a laugh
quick
at that.
spin
Let's
at
do
it.
that.
Okay, we can do that.
100%.
I mean, it's a lot of fun down there. It's redneck, Bill, but what can that? That's the way it is. Hot dog and a beer. Can you make his car go faster?
I can come and have a look at it, especially for a hot dog and a beer.
Exactly. Cheap at half the price. Yeah.
You've had quite a career, young man.
Yeah, it's just different. It's like I feel I was very lucky and fortunate to work with amazing people. I worked with, amazing designers like Rory Byrne, John Barnard, and Adrian Newey. These are the 3 best people that ever built, designed cars in the last 30 or 40 years. And I was lucky that.
Race cars.
But you talk about those guys. But those guys, how much of their knowledge ends up in the cars we're driving today?
Oh, loads. I mean, so if you think back to the 90s where we started to put things on steering wheels in Formula 1 cars.
Right.
Now look how much
shift,
information you have on a steering wheel in your road car.
It's everything. Right?
Yeah, that was never there on a road car before. This came from Formula 1.
Right.
Look at sequential gearboxes, right? Where you
I have one of those damn Aston Martin I have. It's got that Aston Martin. So Magneti Marinelli were the original sequential gearbox, which did it for Ferrari, Maserati. Aston picked it up. I have a bloody
Right.
Dodge V10, Dodge Viper V10 gearbox with a sequential add-on for Magneti Marinelli, which
Yeah.
allowed it to go from a manual gearbox to being a sequential,
Right.
along with a lot of issues as well. But
So
it's,
all
that's-
that knowledge is now
Is transferring.
Totally.
You go to a showroom floor tomorrow morning for a new car. That knowledge is there.
it's happening, but it's happened really slowly.
Why slowly?
I don't know, because my deal in engineering is I was working on carbon fibre and carbon this, that, and the other, and it's never made it to mainstream production.
Right.
Apart from the i8 and the i3, but it never went any further.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not. They're like
This is Audi,
low volume.
BMW.
BMW.
I believe, and this is a plug for our current company, is that there's certain EV transmission stuff which is
I've got a question for both of you
reverse
guys.
that, yeah.
Okay, I've got a question for both of you guys. Okay, Lee, tomorrow morning you wake up and you're gonna go buy a new car. What would you buy? He's first.
Can I be second?
What would you buy? You want to be second?
No.
You can be second. Okay, him first.
I'm going to have one.
Well, you want to go first, Kenny? What would you buy? If you went tomorrow morning, you're gonna go. No. The dollar is. Let's make what the dollar is.
Is that like to be news?
What car would you buy?
Money no issue.
Money no issue.
The Murray Walker T50.
The what?
Murray Walker T50.
The Murray Walker 250.
T50.
What is that?
It's Murray Walker. Sorry. Gordon Murray.
Gordon Murray.
Not Murray.
That's funny because
because I know both of them.
Yeah.
So Gordon Murray designed the original F1 McLaren, the original one where you sat in the middle.
Yeah.
He's now designed a new car, which has the concept of the fan, which induction that he did in the Brabham back in the Formula 1 days. So I think, but it's not an everyday. So
Give me an everyday car. Give me an everyday car you buy.
Everyday car.
Yeah. What would you buy?
Porsche 911 Targa.
Period. Turbo? Just Porsche 911.
No, I don't want turbo.
Tar.
Yeah, I know.
The 911 Targa?
Targa. Come on.
The new one.
Andy's like happy. Andy's like happy with it. Andy, what would you buy? Come on, mate.
Good question. Obviously, I'd buy my own. Buy our own company one because it's.
Yeah,
well, we both.
But if that wasn't enough.
Forget about your
Okay.
Don't buy those right now.
No, we've both ordered them though.
Yeah,
we both ordered those cars.
We have to.
Yeah, you ordered them, but then I'm gonna go. You're gonna go tomorrow to a dealership, get a car, and drive home with the damn thing. What would you buy?
Yeah, probably.
I hope it's not red.
No, it's not red. You know what? I always wanted one, and I wanted the RS6 Audi. That's what I wanted. I had the S2. I've had multiple hairdresser versions of the TT. I've had a TT. I'm ashamed to say that. And the original. I don't know.
You buy?
I don't want to go with supercar. No, because I like them. I mean, or a.
Okay, let's go this. I'm going to go this way.
Oh, can we go classic?
I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. What American car would you buy?
If I could get my hands on one,
yeah.
I'd have a 69 or 70 Mach 1 Mustang.
So, Kenny, what American car would you buy?
GT40.
You would?
Oh,
GT40?
yeah, I'd have. So I did. So when I worked,
It's
at
only
Aston,
40 inches high like me.
So the second version of the GT40, they based that off the Aston Martin Vanquish technology, and we were working on that. I do any one of the Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3 GT40s in a heartbeat.
Oh, so you know all about it now, do you?
just a little bit.
So we're going to continue our guest visit, our guest appearance from Kenny Handkammer and from Andy McDonald every few weeks. Talk about cars, because everyone likes to talk about cars. Because it's like music, cars, takes you away from what you today's issues.
Exactly.
You've been listening to the Off-Road Radio Show. Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. See you next week. TC and I are going to be at the fair. God forbid.
Thank you very much.
Crap. Yeah. See you next week from the fair with Neil and TC on the Off-Road Radio Show. Good night, everyone. Yeah, my show sucks. I give a fuck.
Northern California.
That was cool. I mean, it was a good chat. I don't know if anyone's listening to it.
Who cares? It was a great chat.